Ukraine expects record number of drone attacks this winter, Air Force. Reuters. Ukraine's Air Force expects a record number of Russian drone attacks on its soil this winter, its SP. Okasperson Yuri Inat said on Sunday, as Kyiv girds for a second winter of mass bombardment of its energy facilities. Inat said that data for September showed the use by Russia of Iranian-designed Shahed kamikaze drones would smash last year's figure. He contrasted this number with Russia's airstrike campaign on Ukraine last winter, when he said about 1,000 Shahed drones were used in 6 months. Below are your comments. Jean-Claude Juncker, the former European Commission president. Anyone who has had anything to do with Ukraine knows that this is a country that is corrupt at all evils of society. Despite its efforts, it is not ready for accession. It needs massive internal reform processes. Ukraine's ability to fight a ground war in winter is about zero. They won't fight. Therefore Russia will watch their front line and defend as needed. They will lay waste to Ukraine all winter long with drones and missiles. Humans' inhumanity to humans has been going on since before recorded history right up to today. The most recent atrocities are Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the Hamas invasion of Israel. Unfortunately, these will not be the last. NATO can be disbanded as far as I am concerned if they can't help Ukraine, their neighbor for Krissa Kess, without something written on a piece of paper. Ukraine should return the favor back to Russian war criminals. Next news. U.S. senators defy backlash at home to test China's engagement firsthand. South China Morning Post. Nearly a decade ago, when Chinese President Xi Jinping made a state visit to the United States, he told the highest-ranking U.S. lawmakers that the two countries should leave a much better relationship to future generations. As Xi was welcomed to Capitol Hill, he invited Nancy Pelosi to China to come see for yourself after. The then House Democratic leader expressed concerns over the country's human rights records. Now, after a 4-year pause in visits by U.S. lawmakers to China, a bipartisan Senate. Below are your comments. U.S. government has been anti-China after WW2 for 80 years. China bashing is an age-old American tradition and a must-do to win elections. I don't see anything changing in U.S. politics unless big business, lobbyists, start suffering badly. The latest bashing is to decouple the economies. China with Bilio. I will always be grateful to China for pulling 1.4 billion people out of poverty in 30 years without sending 50 million overseas to seek a better life in the USA. Their economic miracle is just that, a miracle. You look at India or Pakistan, that have been democracies since the 1940s and if the U.S. wants to improve relations with China, a good place to start would be to come clean about the origins of COVID. It's getting pretty obvious from all the propaganda and censorship by the U.S. government that COVID leaked in the U.S., and they thought they could cover it up by blaming China for it. Next news. Elon Musk flags Iranian Supreme Leader's post on Hamas attack on Israel. The Hill. Elon Musk on Sunday flagged a post from Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei that celebrated the CKS by Hamas on Israel and said Khamenei's statement made clear that Iran's goal is eradicating Israel. Khamenei's official position is clear that the eradication of Israel is the actual goal, not just uprooting Palestinians, Musk wrote in a Below are your comments. Eradication is the common goal of terrorists. Hamas wants to eradicate Israel. Putin's stated goal is to eradicate Ukraine. Well, looks like Elon is the king of X. He and he alone is the censor. Depending on which side of the bed he gets up on determines what he flags and what he doesn't. What's bizarre is Tesla is absolutely crushing it against all competition, so he must be doing so right. Don't know what else. Musk is now trying to have it both ways. You allowed bad people to post bad things because you believed Twitter blocked of extreme views in he passed weren't fair because it violated freedom of speech. Musk just wanted to control the narrative with his money. There will never be any peace in the Middle East as long as the current Iranian regime is in power. They hate and want to eliminate Israel. All they want is war and dysfunction. Iran, Hamas, Hezbollah are terrorists and nothing more. If their God was actually willing, it would have happened long ago. At this point, it's just their hatred that persists in perpetual violence. Next news. War in Israel, a new front in U.S. election campaign. AFP. The surprise Hamas assault on Israel has opened up a new front in the U.S. election campaign as Republicans accuse President Joe Biden of being soft in his defense of Israel and in his handling of Iran. Aside from the 2024 election, the Republican attacks pose political problems for Biden. Below are your comments. But it is Republicans who are appeasing Russian aggression and cutting military aid to Ukraine. Hamas and others see this and think they can act freely in the face of Republican fecklessness. When did Republicans go red? Like Ronna McDaniel's opinion has any value. Why is she still chairperson of the RNC? Isn't there someone with a little credibility that can take her place? Joe is going to have to explain to the American people, who are so tired of endless wars which have cost us too many lives, destabilized too many regions around the world, have cost us trillions of dollars, why he was a leader in getting us involved in the war in Iraq, Mr. Sanders said last week. President Biden will also announce new contributions totaling $316 million to support the Palestinian people. This is on top of the more than $500 million the United States has provided to the Palestinian people since the Biden administration restored much-needed funding to the Palestinians. That is today's GOP. An attack on Israel is an opportunity for them. Do they hope for an attack from Lebanon as well? Might that be another good opportunity? Next news. Analysis in striking Israel. Hamas also took aim at Middle East security realignment. Reuters. When Islamist group Hamas launched a spectacular attack against Israel, it also took aim at efforts to forge new regional security alignments that could threaten Palestinian aspirations for statehood and the ambitions of the group's main backer Iran. Saturday's assault, the biggest incursion into Israel in decades, coincides with U.S.-backed moves to push Saudi Arabia towards normalizing ties with Israel in return for a defense deal between Washington and Riyadh, a move that would slam the BRAC. Below are your comments. Any peaceful solution is far off and getting further. This is going to empower the radicals on both sides. Hamas knows that they will be severely punished for this, but they know that this will make them stronger as it will further militarize Gaza. One key move is to further weaken Iran in any POC. 700 Israelis confirmed dead right now. No peace for Palestinians. No nation either. Egypt, Jordan, United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Morocco and Sudan all are governed by dictators. Arab people reject any relations with the Zionist Israel while occupation of Palestine continues. It is known to all why USA patronizes so many dictators in that region, denying the people of that region. Please wait a moment. Israel will never want a peaceful solution. They enjoy this just like they are the only ones. This is the end game of global liberalism. Next news. Head of Ukraine's leading political party criticizes Switzerland for its position on arms for Ukraine. Ukrainska Pravda. David Arakhamia, head of the Servant of the People Party faction, has criticized Switzerland for its position on the supply of arms to Ukraine and also questioned the effectiveness of its policy of neutrality. Below are your comments. Well, neutrality is the state of being neutral or of being unengaged in a dispute or contest between others. The taking of no part on either side. In international law, the attitude and condition of a nation or state which does not take part directly or indirectly in a war. Ukraine should have followed the example of Switzerland and accepted the status of neutrality. So now we're adding Switzerland to the list? Slovakia, Poland, Hungary and now Switzerland? Doors are continuing to close on Ukraine. Jean-Claude Juncker, the former European Commission president. Anyone who has had anything to do with Ukraine knows that this is a country that is corrupt at all evils of society. Despite its efforts, it is not ready for accession. It needs massive internal reform processes, he said. Nice try. Just because I don't want my tax money going to some corrupt dictator doesn't mean I'm cowardice, and just because you want my tax money going to some dictator doesn't mean you are brave. Next news. Haley slams Blinken as irresponsible for saying no link between Israel attack and $6 billion released to Iran. Fox News. Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley said she believes the $6 billion in frozen funds return net to Iran had a role in the Hamas attack in Israel. Below are your comments. The timing of the attack was because Iran's two biggest enemies, Saudi Arabia and Israel, were getting ready to make a deal. But this was something Hamas has been preparing for months if not years. It is unfortunate that Hamas is willing to sacrifice the dreams of so many Palestinians to help I. While Iran is definitely behind Hamas and we should not have released the $6 billion, all of those rockets were not built in the last few months. Blinken is likely correct, and he has the intel. It's far more likely that congressional chaos paralyzing our government was a big factor, as was the possible recognition of Israel by Saudi Arabia. So if you give me $100,000 and say I can't spend that specific $100,000 on a luxury car, but I have $100,000 that I had earmarked to spend on something else I required, did you not just effectively give me $100,000 to buy that luxury car I really want? This logic is. So Iran couldn't have done it without the $6 billion? Seems unlikely that the money kicked off the whole operation. Next news. Ukraine's defense forces continue to advance on two fronts, General Staff report. Ukrainska Pravda. Over the course of the past day, Ukraine's defense forces clashed with Russian forces 33 times and continued to advance on the Melitopol and Bakhmut fronts. Source: General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine on Facebook. Information as of 1800 on 8 October. Detail. LS. Ukraine's defense forces clashed with Russian forces 33 times over the past 24 hours. Below are your comments. Give then the F-16 to take out Russian aircraft to stop the launches from MiGs. They can at K Black Sea Fleet as well. Ukrainian forces conducted 33 attacks within last 24 hours, although with same result as last 3,333 attacks they did in last 4 months. Ukrainian forces hit exclusively Russian military targets while Russians practically with no except on hit civilians. Thanks Ukrainska Pravda, we trust you. The Ukrainians already had little ammunition for their NATO anti-air systems. With Israel getting absolutely clobbered by 5,000 plus missiles, the idea that Ukraine will be getting an refreshment on their PAC-3 missile needs is absolutely dead in the water. The Ukrainians should pray for another mild W. Advancing in circles? Circus I mean? Clown face. Russia and Putin will lose this war. Watch what happens by the end of this month. Next news. Over 100 Ukrainian citizens ask Ukraine's embassy in Israel for help. Zelensky. Ukrainska Pravda. Over 100 Ukrainian citizens have asked Ukraine's embassy in Israel for help. The whereabouts of 5 Ukrainians in southern Israel have been confirmed. Source: Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in an evening address quote, "The Ukrainian embassy and the Israeli police are working together in every way possible to find out What is happening to Ukrainians who found themselves in the areas of hostilities and shelling? Below are your comments. An old expression comes to mind: jumping out of the frying pan and into the fire. If I had to choose, I'd go to Australia. I know. How many are men or families with young men who fled the country to avoid fighting? So a bunch of people who are either on vacation or who fled the country because of the war in Ukraine. To avoid helping now demand that the government help them? Wow, apparently the attitude of American liberals is more widespread than I'd feared. Zelensky should declare war on Hamas, then ask the US for more money. This seems like a good opportunity for Zelensky to make more dollar. Next news. Zelensky holds talks with Israeli PM. Ukrainska Pravda. Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, has reported that he held a conversation with the President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky. Source: Netanyahu on Twitter. Quote, I spoke with the Chancellor of Germany, Olaf Scholz, the President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, the Prime Minister of Italy, Giorgia Meloni, and the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Rishi Sunak. Below are your comments. Oh boy, another drama queen and sympathy-seeking con man comedian Zelensky that wants to be relevant and bring the focus of war in Israel to his selfish battle. This guy just wants all the attention to himself. Get out! Exclamation mark. Exclamation mark. Exclamation mark. Exclamation mark. Exclamation mark. Exclamation mark. Dot. I am sure Zelensky is begging for the Israel PM not use up all his bombs and ammo. Asking, please save some for Ukraine. Two politicos trying to outdo each other. Who is going to donate what to whom? Zelensky and Israel will both be fighting for years. Serves them right. Hope it lasts a couple of decades, that way everyone is exhausted into a powerful peace. There is no greater picture than two dictators hold hands together. Next news. $6 billion in frozen Iranian funds remain unspent in wake of Hamas attack, Blinken says. The Hill. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said Sunday the $6 billion in Iranian funds expected to be unfroze. And in the U.S. prisoner swap with Iran have remained unspent, pushing back against suggestions that the Biden administration's deal may have contributed to Hamas's recent attacks on Israel. The facts are these: no U.S. taxpayer dollars were. Below are your comments. Blinken keeps saying the Iranians will use the $6 billion for humanitarian purposes. Come on, Antony. How gullible do you think the world is? The leader of Iran told NBC's Lester Holt they will determine how the money is spent. Notice that Blinken is silent about Iran financing and arming both Hezbollah and Hamas yesterday, La Saint Week, last month, or at any time in the near and distant past. Biden allowed Iran oil to flow freely in an effort to lower USA gas prices. that gave Iran the ability to finance their anti-Israel agenda. The funds should simply remain frozen. White House is doing a lot of double talking now. Damage control seems to be the new norm. Next news. A surge in rail traffic on North Korea-Russia border suggests arms supply to Russia, think tank says. Associated Press. Recent satellite photos show a sharp increase in rail traffic along the North Korea-Russia border, indicating the North is supplying munitions to Russia, according to a U.S. think tank. Speculation about a possible North Korean plan to refill Russia's munition stores drained in its protracted war with Ukraine flared last month, when North Korean leader Kim Jong-un traveled to Russia to meet President Vladimir Putin and visit key military sites. Below are your comments. It doesn't take much to derail a train. It would be nice if both dictators were on the same train when it gets derailed. I don't think that it is possible for the feckless Russians and feckless Koreans to guard the railroad tracks. Pretty bleak when Kim's Korea is supplying arms to Putin. Trump and Kim Jong-un are based. How pathetic, the Muscovites going to the NK fatty for weapons lol. I would be flat out embarrassed. Nice to see at least one grateful nation showing some loyalty. Next news. Veteran explains war in Israel impact on Ukraine's international support. The new voice of Ukraine. Retired Major Oleksiy Hetman, a veteran of the Russian-Ukrainian War, discussed the impact of the war in Israel on Ukraine's international support in its fight against Russia in an interview with Radio ONV on October. Below are your comments. Western democracy leaders created this problem, and by miracle got caught in illegitimate son Misrael stealing Palestinians' land and getting nowhere with it, shame on them. Although Iron Dome theory was working, this miracle of Palestinians' youth showed Western democracy eaters and Neti evil Bibi has no chance when might of Allah is taking place. Billions of Muslims today are worshipping Allah to end this Palestinians' land occupation and let. They've been draining Israeli war stocks to help Ukraine. See what happens now. Remembering 1948, 1967, 1973, and now War of 2023. What is next for the Middle East? Looks like Putin wants to drag Israeli into the war. More party is more fun for the stupid Russian slaves. Next news. Republican resistance to aid for Ukraine targets Biden, claims national security expert. The new voice of Ukraine. Evelyn Farkas, a former U.S. defense official and current executive director of the U.S.-based think tank, the McCain Institute, discussed the reluctance of Republican Congress members Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene in supporting Ukraine, in an interview with NV on October 6. Below are your comments. Not sending aid to Ukraine shows weakness, and that is what Republicans are proving. Supporters of Ukraine, like this Farkas, parrots the fake narrative that Russia wants to attack AIM. Rika. Like all parrots, she is best described as a birdbrain. Not sending money to Ukraine shows that somebody is starting to think about the United States for once. I'm sorry, if they actually knew the combined IQs of green and goats, they would come to the conclusion that Congress is in trouble. Period. Gop loves Putin and will do anything to prop him up. Next news. Pence criticizes Biden for Iran strategy after Israel attack. The Hill. Former Vice President Mike Pence, a 2024 presidential candidate, on Sunday criticized President Biden for his strategic positioning on Iran and suggested the administration's policies have set the conditions for the Hamas attacks in Israel on Saturday. In an interview on CNN's State of the Union, Pence pointed to the recent U.S.-Iran hostage exchange. Below are your comments. Yes, President Biden wanted to reinstate the Iran nuclear deal because it was widely regarded as a success in slowing Iran's ability to produce nuclear weapons. Yes, the Biden administration took steps to unfreeze Iranian assets in order to get Americans held in Iranian prisons home. With regard to Pence is nothing more than an opportunist. He has lost any credibility he may have had. 2 + 2 = 3 for Pence, but then, he is superstitious. Next news. We're helping to make Russia great again. It's a bad idea. Guest view. Pensacola News Journal. Congressional failure to support Ukraine is simply a choice for making Russia great again, and Agai. NSTUS. National Security and Global Leadership. Below are your comments. We see Trump Republicans defending Russia and denouncing America. You may see some of their comments below. Putin doesn't have to win on the fields of Ukraine as long as he has the support of MAGA Republicans. For those who have had family members risk their lives for America, to listen to Trump Santa. What's wrong with Russia becoming great again? Why is that a terrible thing? It's the largest country in the world with vast natural resources, many of which have yet to be exploited. It was the major source of energy to Europe. It has a rich multi-ethnic cultural heritage. The reason the power's in. It all started with Trump. Next news. Ukraine's State Bureau of Investigations opens proceedings over video of conscripts being battered. In Ternopil. Ukrainska Pravda. Ukraine's State Bureau of Investigations has opened criminal proceedings on the abuse of power by military officials after a video showing Ternopil military enlistment office employees beating conscripts and violently pushing men into a van was shared on social media. Below are your comments. Beating people to force them to fight for you seems counterproductive. But maybe that's just me? I am against conscription anywhere in any situation. The investigation is only for the cameras. Forced conscription is widely practiced in Ukraine because of the common knowledge that they will die for a lost cause. These are the people we have given over $100 billion. Question mark exclamation mark question mark exclamation mark question mark dot. I guess they investigate only because it was caught on video. Next news. Poland's president says Hamas attack on Israel is taking the world's attention away from Ukraine. UK. Rayinska Pravda. Andrzej Duda, president of the Republic of Poland, believes that the Hamas militants' attack on Israel will fuel Russia's full-scale war of aggression against Ukraine because it will take the world's attention away from Ukraine. Below are your comments. I assumed that was the point. Zelensky got too rich, his wife bought jewelry. Not another dime. Certain Americans. Stop funding the Ukraine war, let them handle it. Same certain Americans. We must protect Israel at any cost. Quote. Please subscribe to my channel. And if you like it, please thumbs up.